What was a darker moment or a closer to death moment? The night that you got blown up and you're laying in the dirt, or the night that you're laying in that room coming off of all the drugs?
Um, coming off the drugs and the depression and stuff was scarier than
Holy
sitting there on the dirt
smokes.
because laying there in the dirt, I was dying for something great. Sitting there dying because of pills or alcohol or suicide because of depression or whatever, I was literally dying for nothing. And the thing is that you have to realize that it's worth living if you can make your life worth living for.
Welcome again to another episode of Level Up. I am Matt Rogers. As always, thank you for joining us today. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Always give a 5-star rating. We appreciate that so much. Today is a great day. One of the things I'm always most proud of is the guests that we have on this show. And as you can see, I'm fatigued out, baby. I ain't messing around. This was intentional. I'm wearing this hat, these colors, because today is the day. I'm actually like fidgety, Eli. My sidekick, Eli, our co-EP and engineer, is here as well. I'm excited. Like, I don't get nervous before interviews, but I do get like pumped because, like, man, y'all know my background on Lifetime Coming Home, where we brought home soldiers and surprised their family. So there is a real special place in my heart for those men and women who serve our country. And then you come across someone who actually paid a huge price servicing our country, and that just takes it to a whole new level. Today, I have a U.S. Army Airborne Infantry who was stationed in Fort Bragg. He was in Baghdad for 13 months in 2005. He was promoted to sergeant in 2006. And his story is absolutely amazing. He lost his leg in the line of duty. We're going to talk about that. And he was awarded he was pinned the Purple Heart by Admiral Mullen, which was the Secretary of Defense. And after spending 3 years in the hospital, having over 50 plus surgeries, he is now the strongest amputee powerlifter, and I am so pumped and honored to have him on Level Up today. Please welcome retired Staff Sergeant Casey Mitchell is in the house.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Everyone knows you as that one-legged monster on Instagram. I started following you when you had about 9 or 10,000 followers, and now you got over 250,000 people that are watching you.
People are bored, I guess. There's nothing else.
No way, man. You've been everywhere. Tell us and show me some of the magazines and stuff that you've been in, your accomplishments.
No, as we were sitting here talking, I mean, when I started this whole journey, I remember, I was traveling to an event in Ohio, and I had this camera guy, and like you said, I was kind of fairly new in the industry, and I just remember walking by all these fitness magazines and being like joking but not joking, and being like, one day I'm gonna be in these magazines. And powerlifters aren't really in like Muscle Fitness magazine, Flex magazine, and stuff like that. And then sure enough, my very first magazine was Muscle and Fitness. I ended up being in that and the cover, The Rock,
Yeah.
And then I was featured in
Muscle
Fitness, which was cool. And then Phil Heath, one of the greatest, bodybuilders of the time now. I was featured in that, and then I was featured again in Muscle and Fitness as well, in another one, and they had a big article again in that. And then the one that I was just like, it's not one of the biggest magazines, but it was like huge for me because it was like just the biggest powerlifting magazine. But it had Eddie Hall, who's like, I don't fanboy over nobody, but this guy to me is a legend. He's just a deadlifting world champion. And then, you got a picture of him, and then it has like the one-leg monster right up on top above him. And I got featured in that. And that was, it's been a crazy ride for sure, this whole journey from the get-go.
when was the name the One Leg Monster birth? Because obviously, and we're going to talk about this, you served our country, you lost your leg, and we're definitely going to talk about how you went through that downtime, battled depression, battled pills, alcohol, and then of course now you are where you're at now, one of the strongest power lifters out there, and hands down the strongest amputee power lifter out there. But you really focus on deadlift, which is amazing because in the natural you only have one leg. How did you become and birth this name, that one-legged monster?
It was just kind of given to me. It was just kind of some things that people would say around my gym and stuff like that. It's like, bro, you're like the one leg monster. And then I was like, one day I just kind of changed my Instagram handle to that one leg monster, and it's stuck ever since. And it's funny because I'll be walking around airports or wherever, and they're like, "Yo, one leg monster." It's Simon Casey. Just like one leg monster, and it's just kind of a thing that's kind of just become a persona, I guess you could say, and kind of allows me to kind of live up to that name as the best that I can is just one leg monster, man. Just do monstrous stuff.
I've been watching you from a distance now for the last couple of years, man, and there are I like to be inspired, and that's what this whole podcast is about. I am inspired by people and their stories, and man, people who inspire me. The Rock, you inspire me. Your Instagram is the real deal. Take me back to. I want to go back to how it all started, where you grew up, when you enlisted. I want to know everything because your story is absolutely amazing. So let's start with where you grew up. Did you always knew you were going to be in the service?
Yeah. So the service was like a thing that was just bred into me, I believe. My grandpa, who's like a hero to me, he was a 2-time Purple Heart recipient out in World War II. Just a gangster, man. Just like the hardest man I've ever met in my entire life. And
you got I was going to say, you got a Purple Heart too. Tell people, how do you earn the Purple Heart? What is the criteria for getting a Purple Heart?
Wounded in action, from the enemy, so. My grandpa, he was wounded in, I believe, Normandy. And then, me, I was wounded in Afghanistan. So that's how you kind of get the Purple Heart. It's kind of like one of those awards that it's a great award, but it's not one you really want to get,
right. Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely earned for sure. Well, if you do get it, absolutely.
So your grandfather got 2, you said?
Yeah, he was shot, and then he was also hit by a hand grenade. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pretty much a badass, man. So I always grew up looking up to him, and just I remember even when I was younger and in school, I would just go to these little military camps and stuff like that, and I liked it. And as I grew, I grew up in Exeter, a small city in Tulare County, probably about 45 minutes south of Fresno. Very small city. Everybody kind of knows everybody type of city. And as I started going through high school, I became a very good athlete, and there was the potential of me going to college and playing football. And just as I got older and got closer to it, I just still was, really focused on the military. And then one of my guys that I went to high school with, he graduated early and then deployed to Iraq and got killed overseas. And it made me even more, I don't know, mad and upset and wanting to join even more because of that.
Really?
And so the whole college thing kind of slowly just kind of went away. And I just, in my head, I was like, I just want to join the military. And so that's basically what I did. I graduated in 2003. I enlisted in 2004. And, I think the only reason I hung around a little bit for a little while is because I had a girlfriend at the time that was trying to persuade me out of it, kind of a thing, and didn't really want me to go. And then one day I went down the recruiting station, and nobody knew. And I went down there and sat down with them and told them I just wanted to join. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to be up in the mix. I want to be, I want to be doing the stuff. And they said, okay, so you want to join infantry? And I said, yeah.
So dude, what is that? Why you lost your friend right out the gates and you want to go into the line of fire like your friend? I mean, knowing that, we use it as a tagline. I know they put their lives on the line and it sounds so common to us, but you really, really are. That was attractive to you, huh?
Yeah, it was attractive to me in the sense of I wanted to feel like I was really a part of it. I just felt like I could do it, and I knew what I could basically bring. I knew my mindset, my athleticism. I was decently smart. I understood the military, You know, and I just felt like I was actually, I mean, obviously I could have just signed up to be a cook or something.
Sure.
But I felt like I had a lot more to give, and I wanted to give that. You know, I wanted to give myself to that, and it was the infantry. It was something that I really thought was the to do, and you know, and be proud of. Like, you know, that's the thing too. Is like I'm not saying like people that serve as a cook or something because everything's needed, but
Sure.
me personally,
Right.
I wanted to look back and be like, you know, years down the road, my daughter's like older or whatever, and I'm old, or you know, to sit back and be like, man, I was in that.
Yeah.
And people just really kind of look up and respect and admire that. And not just that, I just, like I said, it's a lot of pride. Infantry, it's very prideful, and it's very selfless, because like you said, you know, you're signing up, and as an infantryman, you're not signing up and getting deployed and being put somewhere where you're not going to be in the stuff. You know what I mean? You're going to be in it.
Do you
That's what we're
feel
there to do.
when you're in Baghdad and you're in infantry and you're on the front line, do you feel fear or do you not feel it?
Well, you know, that's the thing is you could be the baddest, you could be a Navy SEAL, you could be Delta Force, you could be whatever you want. You're always in fear. But what happens is when, like, you know, pops off, training comes into play. Training is survival and instinct, and it takes over, and that's why I just feel like the military, you know, we've just a little bit of a different breed, you know. You know, you train so much ready for that one event to happen, and when it happens, it's just repetitive. You just do what you were trained to do.
And it happened to you in, you know, pretty much the worst way, short of losing your life. Walk us through that day. What happened?
Yeah, so this is you know, I did a Baghdad in 05, 06. I was based out of North Carolina. Got back, got promoted to sergeant, and then got re-enlisted, and got sent to Fort Lewis, Washington, where I would be put with a brand new striker brigade up there. And you know, we're at the time, and when I was up there, you know, the focus was Iraq, and we went to a training facility called Fort Irwin, where you get ready to prep to go to your deployment country, and it was Iraq. While we were actually there, a couple weeks in, we got orders that we were going to be moved over to Afghanistan and be the first striker brigade to ever go into Afghanistan. There had never been strikers there before. And so total change of training, total change of language, total change of the way that people live, and just dealing with the whole entire country itself. It was completely, you know, 360 compared to what we were getting ready to do with Iraq. So, you know, we started transitioning into getting ready for Afghanistan. And then in 2009, you know, we landed in Kandahar province, and landing there, you know, we knew Afghanistan was pretty bad. It's a whole different beast than Iraq. And
Sure. Kandahar, Afghanistan is the real deal. Like that's where
it's pretty
was
rough.
going.
And I tell people,
down.
I was in Baghdad. I did Mosul in Iraq. I was in Fallujah, Ramadi. You know, I've been all out there, and those are bad spots. But Kandahar, and then the Arghandab River Valley, and then the Maywan district, that's hell on earth. And that's what I used to tell people, man, especially the Arghandab River Valley. It's hell on earth inside that thing, and it's rough. And yeah, that's where we got pushed out to. At first was just a little tiny base that we kind of built up once we got there. And it was funny because we kind of patrolled the area, and it was the enemy didn't really know what the hell we were. You know, they didn't know they'd never seen these things before in their country. And these vehicles, there's these very high tech, big, like tanks on wheels. They have 8 wheels. And what it does is it holds troops inside a compartment. So you have a driver, then you have me, who's a commander of the vehicle. I'm standing out of the hatch, and then you have 2 air guards out the back hatch with machine guns, and then you have a gunner. He's inside the vehicle, kind of like in a jet pilot cage, where he maneuvers his 50 cal machine gun, or, you know, Mark 19 grenade launcher, or whatever they have on there, from a TV screen, basically, and thermals and stuff. And he's like in a cockpit, and that thing just moves around and does lasers and does all kinds of high tech stuff. And then you got a squad of soldiers inside that vehicle that at any time we could stop, drop the hatch, and unload a platoon of soldiers on top of anything and anybody, you know.
Sure.
That's what the whole criteria of that type of unit is to get these high-end vehicles that are very, deadly vehicles. These things can, get anywhere, go anywhere, and drop soldiers very, very quickly in an area and maneuver on the enemy very quickly. They're very stealthy, and they're very fast. And so, they didn't know at first. And when we first got there, we would get hit with little IEDs, or they would pop shot at us, and they were just trying to figure us out. And then as time went, they got a little bit smarter. And then as we went, we started to push into art. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Why are you there? Because this is under Bush Jr. Why are you there in Afghanistan? To do what? What's the mission?
The mission was obviously the Taliban. There was high end guys that we were, there to look for. We were there to push and kill the Taliban, basically, and push them out of that country. There's a lot of people that are saying we shouldn't have been there. We shouldn't have been Iraq and whatnot. But, the thing is with me is like, our country was attacked. There, bin Laden said that it was his plan. Bin Laden was Pakistan, Afghanistan area. Iraq, was Saddam Hussein. The thing was, they were two different types of wars. Saddam Hussein, he was kind of like a Hitler over there. The things that he was doing to his own people were devastating. And Iraq could definitely be like a Dubai down the road, or like a Kuwait. It's very established, and they're very up on times. It's not kind of like in the Stone Age. When we went to Afghanistan, it's Stone Age. It's little villages here and there, like, cities that are little places that aren't on maps. You'll be hiking through mountains or whatever, and all of a sudden you run up on a village. Yes, nobody even knows that's there. They live in mud houses.
Can I ask you this? When you're there, is the mission to eliminate Taliban? You see them, they're gone. Is that the mission?
Yeah, the mission for us was to eliminate Taliban, push them out of the area, make real good way with the people. And here's the thing is, like, I'm pretty honest about it. Is like, when we would sit down and we would talk to the villagers and the elders, they didn't want us there, and they didn't want the Taliban there. They just really want to live in peace. They don't like the Taliban. They don't like us. It's just the way it was. The Taliban kills their people, comes into their houses. Some of the things that we would see is the their religious book. They would the Taliban would go in and rip pages out of it because they didn't believe in that part of the book.
Right.
And it's just the way it is, but the villagers, they can't. I mean, we've seen there's movies out there that show the Taliban coming into villages, and because you're talking to the U.S. or you're not doing what they see fit or what they like, they cut your arms off, they cut your heads off, and the villagers are defenseless. They can't defend themselves against those type of soldiers.
And do they appreciate the fact that you're there to help them? Because I mean, you guys aren't the ones going and ripping the pages out, and you're there to push the bad guys out.
Yeah, I mean, it was always like a fine line. They didn't like sometimes. They didn't like when we came into their villages either. Sometimes some did. There were some that we just got welcomed with open arms, and they were so excited to see us. And then there's some that just didn't really want us there because they knew if we were there that it would provoke the Taliban to come in there and ask them questions and, torture and just do a lot of things. And
so tell me about that night. Tell me, or the day. I don't know. Was it day or night? Like what happened?
Yeah. So I basically, I'd been there just little over 12 months. I was basically getting ready to go home. I was very, very good at finding IEDs. I have many videos that, I'm finding and detonating IEDs. I did it in Iraq as a route clearance guy. And when I got to Afghanistan, everybody knew that I was pretty good at finding these things. But we took off in the middle of the night to go just do some patrolling and reconning of some areas that we knew IEDs were being placed by the Taliban. And so we took off, and I was the second vehicle in the patrol. My lieutenant was up in the front. And as we were going, I just remember we went down into this riverbed, and we were going to go down in the riverbed and come up out of the riverbed and then continue our reconnaissance. And when we came out of the riverbed, the goal is to stay in each other's tracks because that means the vehicle in front got through, then you're more than likely getting through. So you try to stay in the vehicle in front of each tracks. Well, because of the way our vehicle came up, we were up pretty high, you got 4 wheels in the air, and it came back down. My driver got a little bit out of the tracks, and with dust and everything like that and vision, he just went left of the tracks a little bit, and there was a major pressure plate bomb, IED, sitting right there, and detonated directly underneath like where I was standing at. When it detonated, I had my whole squad in there. I remember just waking up and thinking that we got into a vehicle roller, like we just rolled over our vehicle, because the last thing I could remember was, the front of the vehicle going up and then coming down, and then, so I didn't think that I got blown up. I thought we rolled our vehicle. And so I just remember looking, and I could see like my whole squad of guys were unconscious, and then there was all this smoke, and then I started smelling, and realizing like, oh, damn, we've been hit by a bomb, And so I started screaming at them to wake up, because we've had, my captain and a bunch of other guys got burned alive in one of these vehicles from a bomb. It just caught on fire, and there was nothing they could do to get out of it. And they burned, alive. And it was very, very horrific to see and to hear. And
you saw that and heard that?
Yeah. So, I mean, not to get too much into it, but we, could hear our commander on the radio telling us what was going on while he was inside the vehicle. He was trapped and couldn't get out, but, solid dude. But, so that was an instinct for me, was to get these guys out of this vehicle. So, that didn't happen to us, And so once they started waking up and getting out, they all got out of the vehicle, and then I started to try to get myself out. And then I realized my legs aren't working, and, I immediately thought my legs were both blown off, So I had a little helmet light. So I turned the light on, and I started like feeling my body with my hands, And when I went and looked at my hands, I could just see there was like battery acid, oil, and just blood all over my hands. And so I started to try to get myself out. And when I went to grab these little handles that are hanging from the ceiling, I'm right hand dominant. So I went to go grab it with my right hand, and then realized my hand wasn't working. And, I didn't know what had happened to it at the time. I mean, I could see it, but it wasn't working. So I started to try to grab myself with my left hand and get myself out. And then my squad just realized that, like, where's Sergeant Mitchell at? And knew I was obviously stuck inside the vehicle. So when they came in, they were screaming at me. And I just told them that I was stuck and I couldn't move my legs. And I remember them just turning their flashlights on and looking at me. And I could just see that, like, the look in their eyes is like how messed up I was, And then they just told me they're going to get me out of the vehicle. And I just remember my legs were going to go out first. And when my one of my soldiers, his name's Baker, he actually passed away a couple of years ago from cancer. He picked me up, and I remember my right leg just kind of swinging around freely. And, I had dislocated my right leg at the knee completely. And then my left leg, it was still there, but it was pretty battered up. And they just carried me out of the vehicle and put me around the backside. And then my Doc Kirker, he also passed away as well since our deployment. He came around, and he was an older cat, wore like a Harley bandana and stuff like that. Just a real cool guy. And he was just always really good at he's really good at what he did. And I remember him just like looking at me and telling me to stay awake and stuff like that. And he was, going to give me some morphine for the pain. And I just remember just grabbing him and being like, how bad am I? And he's like, you're bad. We got to stop all this bleeding. We got to stop.
He didn't sugarcoat it. He told you straight up.
He told me straight up, because that's just how we were. We've never, that was the one thing that we never did, is we never, like, over there, we never sugarcoated it. I mean, one of my good friends, Scott, McKay, Sergeant McKay, he got shot in the butt cheeks, and it was the funniest thing that any of us had ever seen, and he got shot right in the butt, flesh and no bone, just through and through. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I'm laughing because you're laughing, but I don't feel like I should be laughing.
It was funny. I mean, we laughed, he laughed, everybody kind of laughed. And then, I mean, that's just how we were. I mean, we've been around it so much over there. It was kind of like the norm to deal with stuff like that. It wasn't, I mean, don't get me wrong. My first doc, he tapped out because he was just mentally done bandaging us up and losing lives, So, yeah, it was his first, he was a Doc Fulton. He just got to a point halfway to deployment. He was just done. He couldn't do it anymore. He was burnt. I mean, one of my squad leaders that was a squad leader with me, Sergeant Brown, we called it a little toe popper. He stepped on a pressure plate and blew his like foot off, you know? And he's sitting there like talking, and he's like, well, this sucks. He goes, now I lost my jump shot. You know what I mean? And that's just the way.
Unbelievable.
That's just the way it is. You know, the mentality just, you know, yeah, you're scared and yeah, shit happens, but when it does, it just does. And you just kind of deal with it, you know.
So he tells you that you're messed up pretty bad. Then what happens?
Yeah. So, you know, he gets me, you know, IV'd up, and he's, you know, trying to stop all the bleeding. And then we call for medevac, and medevac comes and lands, and they get me. And my driver was the other one. He sustained a brain injury. They get us loaded up on the helicopter, and we haul ass to Kandahar Air Base, where I was then unloaded and taken into. And I remember the flight, and I remember getting unloaded, and then I remember getting wheeled into the the emergency part there. And then right before I was kind of going out, that's when Admiral Mullen showed up. You know, I had known Admiral Mullen a little bit.
Secretary of Defense, right?
Secretary of Defense, yeah. And
wow.
He remember when my name came up, because, you know, he's around, and he was working a lot hand in hand with my brigade because of the missions that we were doing at the time. And when he was around my one of my sergeant majors at the time that knew me real well. And when they heard my name, you know, come in, you know, he came over and awarded me my Purple Heart, like, you know, not the certificate and everything, because I got to print that all up. But, you know, he brought a Purple Heart and pinned me right then and there in the bed. And then I don't remember anything after that. I woke up one time in Germany for a little bit, and I woke up from like a little like remembrance of the bomb. I felt like the bomb went off again, and it woke me up and startled me a little bit, you know. And then the last time I woke up was in flight from Germany to the States. I remember waking up and being in an airplane. It was just like all red light, and I can remember seeing all the wounded soldiers that were on that flight. And I just remember asking for a little bit of water, and they gave me a cat full of water. And then after that, I woke up in the ambulance that transport us from the airport there in Washington, D.C. to Walter Reed Hospital. And I remember this girl, you know, she had been wounded overseas, and she was pretty startled and pretty, you know, frightened and stuff. And I remember just trying to talk to her and tell her she's going to be all right. And, you know, we're at the best medical facility and things like that. I remember getting wheeled into.
Did it ever cross your mind? Did you ever think you were going to die?
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought when I was laying there on that dirt in Afghanistan, I thought I was going to die. You know, I started to go into shock and started to kind of go in and out, and the bleeding was pretty bad. And so it crosses your head, you know, you're like, you know, I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I just felt pretty helpless. And I really did. I thought I was going to die.
Do you get scared? Like, did you see anything? Like, do you believe in God? Do you believe in heaven and hell? Like, do you see any of that stuff?
No, that's the thing is, like, you know, I've been through so much, and I've seen so much. And I have this whole theory is it's like, you know, the God thing is, you know, there's so many different types of religions out there and so many different types of things. How do you know which one that you're believing in is the God and not the devil, you know, because the devil apparently plays tricks, and there's so many different religions. I believe in just a higher power. You know, and at the time when it comes, I mean, I didn't see no light and no tunnel. I didn't see anything, you know. I just, you know, the whole religion thing kind of left me after that deployment. You know, I've seen some of the most amazing men get taken, you know, and by cruel savages, you know, and you know, you kind of go numb to a lot of that religious stuff, you know. And there was never a point where I was sitting there praying to God to save me. And that's, you know, and it hurts my family's feelings. So my family are hardcore religious, you know, and they all go to church and stuff. And it's just me. I'm just going to wait till the end, and where I go is where I go. And, you know, but like I said, I do believe that, you know, in a higher power. I just don't choose religions, I guess you could say.
Did you grow up like Christian or Catholic or anything like that?
Yeah, I grew up Christian, and then my, you know, my ex-wife, you know, I grew up around there. You know, I was with her, you know, her forever, and her family's like diehard Catholic, you know, and so, you know, I'm around it, you know, and you know, like I said, my family, yeah, they're all Christian, and you know, my sisters and all them, they go to church every Sunday, and my family goes to church every Sunday, and I grew up going to church every Sunday. But what I realize is, you know, that when it's you're sitting there and you're getting a big group before walking out of that going out those gates. Praying never helped, you know, and that was just a thing for me. It's just The only thing that was going to help me survive was myself and my buddies to my left and to my right, and that was it. And like I said, it's not that I have anything against religion or anything like that. It's just that I just choose to just believe that there's a higher power and not choose an actual like religion.
Do you ever think like maybe the prayers of your family over you helped, or does that never cross?
Absolutely, trust me. My family tells me that all the time.
What do you say?
All the time, my mom tells me all the time. She prays for me every day, and my sisters too, and even my girl that I'm with now, she, will tell me she's, pray a little bit for me and stuff in here. And hey, maybe that's the case, and I appreciate it, but for me, I've just seen too much and have been through too much to kind of feel a certain way about a certain thing,
Sure. And that, I mean, so you're in the hospital for 3 years and have over 50 surgeries. Is that right?
Yeah. So it got real hard to kind of keep track of all the surgeries, because they started operating on me pretty much immediately in Afghanistan. And then, so when I was at Walter Reed, for just a little over a year, going through surgeries and rehab. And then I transferred out to Balboa, San Diego, which is a naval hospital. The only reason we transferred out to there is to be closer to family. My family was only 4 hours from there instead of across the country from California to DC.
Mama needed you home so she could pray over you so you get better, bro.
What's that?
I said, Mama needed you home so she could pray over you so you can get better, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Me and my mom are very close. Even to this day, my mom's like, I call her on the daily. We talk every day, and problems that I'm having, it could be anything. My mom is like, that's who I talk
so
to.
Awesome.
Yeah, my mom and me are very close. But no, we when I got blown up, my daughter was only 2 months old.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't want my daughter growing up without family or being away from family. And my wife at the time, she needed some help. She had a brand new newborn, and then she had a husband that was wounded and pretty beat up and bad. And my daughter and my wife at the time, they lived in the hospital with me. I mean, my daughter's, whole first year of her life was hospital. My daughter didn't get to roll around on the floors all the time and stuff like that. She didn't have a house, it was hospital. And that's, you look at my, pictures that I have of my daughter, her first year, a lot of it is at Walter Reed Hospital. Great experience,
Right.
She, my daughter has a personal letter written to her from Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama loved my daughter. Michelle came to visit the hospital of wounded soldiers.
Awesome.
What's that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and met my daughter, and my daughter threw up on her at a couple months
way.
old. And she was great. Yeah, threw up right on this big old brooch she had on her that she had just got from her husband. And the funniest thing is she didn't even flinch.
That's so cool.
Didn't even bother her. And then she told us, she's like, anytime you guys need a babysitter, you want a break, Sky can come out to the White House and hang out, and we'll take care of her. And she was really serious. She was dead serious about it.
Dude,
and
that's awesome.
So funny. Yeah, it was. The funny thing was, she was coming back, and she had her people find out if me and my family was still there, because she wanted to see my daughter again. And when she came into I was actually at physical therapy at the time, going through with my amputation, and Michelle came in there and just took my daughter and had her for a long time, and then wrote her a letter, like just got a piece of paper, found a piece of paper and wanted to write her a letter, and wrote her a letter. And we still have that letter to this day, that Michelle wrote my daughter, and it's personal. It's really cool,
Isn't it awesome how when you take politics out of things and you just look at the humanity side of people, like we're all, for the most part, really, really good people when you take the bull crap out of it.
She's a mom. She has, a lot of kids, and you can tell she's very motherly. And, I don't mind Michelle at all. She when she walks in, she's a very solid presence, very sweet. I never thought anything was fake, she had no reason to call and try to find out if we have her secretary call to see if we were still there. She wanted to see my daughter. That was just the way it was. And always told, always was trying to take her, so it was really sweet. And it was kind of cool. And, I try to explain to my daughter, my daughter's, about to be 11 now. And I just tell her how cool that was for her. And, she's taken that letter to school for show and tell. And, I think it's a first, African-American first lady ever. And, really cool, and so Yeah, it's a cool little thing, little story that she gets to kind of run with for, and have for the rest of her life,
And she gets older and you play that game like two truths and a lie, and like her truth is going to be I puked on Michelle Obama. Like
Yeah.
that's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So like the whole time you're in the hospital, are you thinking like I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to be a power lifter, I'm going to be the strongest guy ever?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I was actually very upset because, at the time I was like, I'm gonna get back and I'm gonna get it together, and I'm gonna stay in the military. I wasn't trying to get out. I was trying to stay in. And once I got to San Diego and it was getting closer and closer, and I kept talking to them about it, they basically told me that there's just I'm too high risk for them to stay in as far as injuries.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to ever do the things that I was able to do, and so they basically just told me like we have to medically retire you. And I didn't honestly tell you, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I do, while I was in San Diego, I did start working with the Border Patrol, started doing some undercover stuff with those guys, started going down there in San Diego and teaching some of the Border Patrol agents tactics and things like that. And I was out there patrolling and doing things with some of these Border Patrol agents, and really enjoyed it. And then we had like an incident where we kind of like had to get into a foot chase, and I wasn't unable to do that.
So what did you do?
What's that?
What happened? Like, what did you do? What happened?
We basically were kind of following a guy that we knew was coming through the border, that we allowed to come through the border. And we were in these undercover vehicles, and he got on a train. They get on these trains that are near the border, and we would basically wait for him to get off at a station. So if he didn't get off at the station, we would basically haul ass down the freeway to the next station point, park somewhere, see if he would get off. And we kept doing that until he finally got off. And then we followed him to a nearby neighborhood. He got into a car. We followed him to a nearby neighborhood. And then when, we went to, when he noticed us, he took off on foot, and I, wasn't able to, I can't run like that. So me being me, I realized like, that could be a bad situation for somebody or my partner or anybody that I'm working with if I can't run to like have his back or her back,
So did you ever go through like a depression? Like, dude, what's my purpose in life? Like, what am I going to do now?
After that, I did, I started working like with the Intel, which was like, dress in a suit and tie and go and work Intel. But that just, it didn't do it for me. It wasn't exciting for me. I just hated it, being at a desk every day. And so I didn't enjoy that at all. And then me and my wife at the time, we decided to like move up near home. She wanted, due to the fact of like being everything that I, went through, and her being around a lot of guys that were wounded, and, she cared for them a lot and stuff like that. It really sparked her interest to become a nurse. And so we moved up to Bakersfield, which was about 4 hours north of San Diego and closer to our family, because she was going to go to school. There's a really good nursing school here in Bakersfield. So, we moved here, we bought a house here, and then that's when I started to, get into my depression. I just basically would wake up every day and not have like anything to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. And I just took pills, played video games, and drank. And that's, I just would wake up every day without a purpose. And it just continuously got worse and worse. And time just kept going and going. And I literally remember sitting on this brown IKEA chair that we had, like a little couch. And, my wife would try to get me to go to bed, and I didn't want to. And I was just depressed, and I didn't like who I was, and I didn't feel manly, and I didn't feel like I had a purpose. And I don't know. And so instead I I had these friends that I played with all the time that didn't know anything about me, didn't know that I couldn't like move, or, didn't know much about me. And so the only thing that they thought is just who I was. And I felt like it was just a place where I felt like I could just be me without all the bullshit. And so that's what I did. I remember just having like 3, 4, 5 day bingers of no sleeping and just playing, and the pills keeping me up and keeping me going, and drinking and eating pizza and Doritos and junk food and stuff. And then, I got lucky. I had this thing that I call was my, like, basically like my reckoning. Was my wife at the time wanted to go to Disneyland, take our daughter for her birthday to Disneyland for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I've never been to Disneyland. Daughter's never been to Disneyland. Wife never been to Disneyland. And so we did the full thing. We, stayed at Disneyland Hotel. We, had Mickey Mouse come up to the room for, bring a present to my daughter.
Right.
And then the next day we went to go do Disneyland, and I couldn't walk 2 blocks without having to sit down, sweating profusely, in pain.
So obviously because of your leg, but more so because of the lifestyle, right?
The lifestyle, yeah, my leg, the lifestyle, everything. And, and then I remember getting to this bench near the Rainforest Cafe and just in agonizing pain, and just and then taking pills to, like, try to get through the pain. And then as you do this, you're taking these pills that you're high, man. You're high. It's just what they do. And I remember just then getting to the line, to stand in line to get in. I get agitated because I'm sweating, because the pain and the pills are causing me to sweat. And I'm just uncomfortable, and there's people around, and I wasn't really good with dealing with people and crowds and stuff. And then, so long story short, we ended up only spending pretty much 1.5 days at Disneyland. And my wife's just like, hey, let's just go home. It's just too much for you. And then I became angry, not at her, not at anybody else, but myself. And I just realized that I just ruined, my daughter's birthday, the coolest thing, that we have done as a family in a long time. And it was all just because of being selfish with myself, not doing, there at the time. I mean, shoot, there's amputees out there running marathons. There's amputees doing this and that, and there's amputees doing stuff. It's not because I became an amputee or have damage the way I have damage that I shouldn't have been doing things. It was that I allowed myself to fall into that hole. And I just remember driving over the Grapevine, and I didn't say a word, the whole drive. I was just so upset with myself. And I remember just looking in the rearview mirror and seeing my daughter in the back seat, and and just so upset with myself. And my wife telling me, hey, it's okay, like, don't be mad, like, at yourself, like, she's not going to remember it. And it's like, it's not about her remembering it, it's about me remembering it.
Mm-hmm.
And well, what am I going to do when she's 7? She's active, and I can't get out there and be an active dad with her or something like that. And I just told her, I said, I'm done. And I said, when I get home, I'm going to get rid of every pill that I have. And of course she didn't really believe it, because I'd said it before. And I'm telling you right now, that car, I was driving that car. I don't even remember putting that car in park before I was already out of that goddamn thing, in that house, grabbing every type of pill that I had and flushing it down the toilet. And I know I get it, shouldn't do that, but I had to, and there's a lot of people that, tell you not to do that for withdrawal reasons and stuff like that. But I knew what I had to do, and I knew what the consequences were about to be without those pills.
So what is that? Because I know that there's people listening that are suffering from addiction, that have been stuck in a rut, whether it's their weight loss journey that never works out for the last 10 years, or their mental state, or whatever it is. What was that defining moment? Because you said it before, but for some reason this was different. What was different? How can people grab that thing that you had in that moment?
You have to find something that is so meaningful for you to want to change it. Whether it be, like, for me, it was my daughter. I wanted to change my life for my daughter. As a dad, you owe her that. You owe your kid that. And so that was me. And I was raised like that. I had great parents, and it's not fair, because of my own, being selfish, that my daughter doesn't have a dad that's active or even coherent sometimes, or therefore, I mean, not to sound like a bad dad, but I mean, I neglected everything and everybody, including her. And she was the best thing. And I did everything that I would do would be for her. But it's like, but I wasn't, I got to a point where I wasn't doing everything. And so you got to dig deep and find your why, and sit there and be like, well, why am I doing this? And then you just got to do it. Everybody knows that I'm very spontaneous. I just will do random shit, and And that's just how I feel like you got to do it sometimes. You just got to do it. And
so did you go through, they said don't flush that stuff for withdrawal stuff. Did you go through withdrawals? Was it hard? Was it easy? What was it like?
It was horrid. I remember telling my wife that, she knew, she knew that what was going to happen. And I just said, I do not care. I do not care what you hear, what you see. Just leave me. Let me go. Let me get through it. I told her that I could get through it. I said, I knew it was coming. I already knew, and the first night I went to bed, I was fine. But then the next day, I woke up and I was, fiending, I guess you could say. It's not like I was wanting it. It's my body was wanting it. I'd been on narcotics you got to think, I was on Dilaudid, ketamine, methadone, Percocets, oxy-IRs, oxy-SRs. You name it, I was taking it. And sometimes I was almost taking all of it. I was taking, I was taking Oxycontins with sleeping pills and things like that. And I was on them, and I was doing them. And, the more you do them, the longer you do it, the more you do to get that feeling.
Yeah.
And my feeling was just, I wanted to numb my life at the time.
I have a tough question for you, but I feel led to ask it, so I'm going to ask it. What was a darker moment or a closer to death moment? The night that you got blown up and you're laying in the dirt, or the night that you're laying in that room coming off of all the drugs?
Coming off the drugs and the depression and stuff was scarier than sitting there on the dirt. Because
Can you
to
believe
me,
that answer, Eli? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Because for me, I wasn't, even though I was laying there, I felt like I still had like laying there in the dirt, I was dying for something great. Sitting there dying because of pills or alcohol or suicide, because of depression or whatever, I was literally dying for nothing. Nothing. You can't look back at that and be like, oh, this guy died went out a good way. If I would have died in Afghanistan, dude, guns being popped off at my funeral, family being handed a flag, people, he died, pride. It's pride. There's no pride in dying from suicide, pills, alcohol. It's all you're going to get is that you died and people feel sorry for you. You die over Afghanistan. Yeah, are people sad? Hell yeah. But what would be better to say for my parents or my wife or my daughter? Oh, he died in Afghanistan, fighting the enemy for, this country, or he died from alcohol, overdosing on pills, killing himself, and so that's how, yeah. So definitely sitting there in that room, and not even just sitting in the room. The thoughts of suicide that had ran through my head before, and talking to my mom and just, and writing. I'll be honest, I wrote things up, thinking that one day, I can't do this anymore. It's tough. It's tough, and the thing is that you have to realize that, it's worth living if you can make your life worth living for,
Can I put a pin
key
right there and ask you to say something to the listeners right now who feel the way that you felt at that time? Someone's listening that's thinking about killing themselves. Someone's listening that's so trapped in addiction they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've been there and you've come out of it. What would you say to those people?
I get emotional, if you can tell.
Me too, man. Me too.
Well, it's just like what I used to tell myself. It's your life matters,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at the time I was pills, lost my career. I felt like I had nothing. I didn't have no self-worth. I just felt like everything that I worked so hard for was taken from me from some, enemy guy, and it was all taken. And now here I am, back to square one with no idea what the hell I'm going to do and how I'm going to provide for my family. And then my body was taken from me. I was a great athlete, a great soldier. It's gone, and you have to realize that life is long. And if you just give it time, things change. It may not change in a day, a week, a month, a year. And let me tell you what, it didn't change for me for years, but it changes. And it all changes on based off of like what you wake up every day to do with yourself. Mm-hmm. And just waking up, opening your eyes and realizing I'm alive today. Could be worse. Standing up on your own 2 feet and putting one in front of the other and just finding things that make you happy, and realizing that the lifestyle that you're living of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, you're hurting yourself, but you're hurting every single person that's around you. And if you do go and you kill yourself, you may not realize it ever because you're no longer here, but you've annihilated your family. And you literally passed away in the most unprideful way that you can go. There's that story of that guy that jumped off the Golden State Bridge, and everybody knows, like when you jump off the Golden State Bridge, the percentage, it's basically death. You die. Well, he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and he lived to tell the story of his fall. And he said when he left that bridge and he was falling, he remembers realizing that he just made the biggest mistake of his life. And he started thinking about his mom and thinking everybody he was about to hurt. And he lived. And that's how you have to live your life, is realizing that you could make the mistake that you never get the second opportunity to realize as it's going that you're never going to get to come back to like fix that. And with life, there is no restart button. There is no put another quarter in and restart. Once you're gone, and that's the end of it. And that's the way that I started realizing it, and I went through those withdrawals, and I just knew every day that I was sick that I just wanted to change my life. And it was taking that step to change my life. And I sat there and I fought it for 3 days, sick as a dog, sweating, sick. My wife just trying to bring in and give me soup and stuff to like put something in my stomach. And, I just remember I finally woke up one day and I felt okay, and then a week later, I was down at the nutrition store buying supplements and going to the gym. Wow. And that's when my life started changing. And all it took was nutrition store and going to the gym that's what started to the life that I'm at now.
Where are you at right now? So, I mean, before your motivation was your daughter. Now you got your daughter. I know you're a fantastic dad. I know if you go to Disneyland, you're going to tear it up now. You ain't going to sit at no park bench.
Oh, we've done it. We went back in 3 days and I kicked Disneyland's ass up and down.
I took Mickey Mouse by the throat and I let Mickey know.
I might owe Disneyland more money now because I went through the rides. And, it was funny because I remember just going there and we're just getting at it, when my daughter was older. And next thing you know, my daughter's asleep in her stroller and stuff. And I'm like, no, hell no.
Wake up.
No, like, wake up. We got stuff to do, And that's a thing too, is, I live a very, very fast paced life. I think it's because I try to make up for the time lost that I have with my life and with my daughter. And that's the thing too, is, guess what? We all got a sad story. Every single one of us, every person has a sad story. The thing is when I was sitting there, I realized as I sat there depressed in the beginning, everybody was there for me. They were there calling me, making sure I was okay. But at the end of the day, as time goes, one, people don't want that negativity every day. It's draining you. It drains everybody around you over a period of time. Two, everybody else got their lives to live too. So as I sat there on that couch and did this stuff, guess what happened? The world kept turning. Family kept living and kept doing their stuff. And I lost a whole year plus of my life that I can't get back because everybody just kept doing their thing. And you will get left sitting there alone, period. Because people just aren't going to stay around and call you every day to make, they're going to help you the best they can. But if you're not going to help yourself, nobody can help you.
Do you have that one person that called you out, that called you to the carpet, that lifted you up, that elevated you? Do you have that person?
Yeah, my mom. I mean, my mom, when even to this day, when I'm messing up, my mom would call me like, Casey, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You know, me and my mom were close, you know, but my mom's the most unbiased person ever. You know, I'm her son. And if I'm messing up with my lady, my mom's calling, ripping my butt, you know, or, you know, if I'm doing something wrong, she'll be like, why are you doing that?
How far away do you live from your mom?
Huh?
How far away do you live from your mom?
I live 45 minutes from my mom.
Oh, so she can still come by and get you.
Oh yeah, she comes. Oh, she comes down. And if I don't, you know, and if she don't hear from me, she'll call me. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing. Why?" She's like, "Well, I haven't heard from you." I'm like, "I'll just, you know," or I mean, she gets on to me for everything, and I just, you know, my mom just like that. She, you know, my mom just, she knows what kind of person I am, and you know, she keeps me on track, and you know, she keeps me grounded, and like, you know, I remember there was times even like couple years ago, you know, I was going through a real big rut, and I remember her sitting down. And I was depressed, and I got into a depressed state. And I remember she's like, "You know what? You're a fake." I said, "What?" She goes, "You're a fake." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "All that stuff you put out there to everybody, all that motivation and all this don't give up stuff, you're a fake because you're not even living it." And I was like, "No, you're right. You're right." And it lit me up. And I'm like, "All right, yeah, you're right. I need to get together." And it's my mom, man. She's just been like that.
So does she go to your powerlifting tournaments? Let's talk about that. I mean, because you go to some places that I see you lifting at on your Instagram, like it looks like you are in a steel cage about to take on the Undertaker. And people are just screaming at you, and you're just raw. Like, does she go to those?
Yeah, my mom, you know, was definitely there for my very first full power meet that I ever did. It was a very big event because everybody knew about it pretty much leading into it. You know, it was something I had been basically pushing, you know, everybody watching me on social media, like go through it for about a year, learning how to do everything and training for it. And it was at the LA Fit Expo. And yeah, man, my mom was there. My wife at the time was there. My daughter was there. Everybody was there. And then I remember, you know, I was getting ready to do this deadlift of 600 pounds, and I had failed this deadlift 5 times. I'd never pulled it. And I just knew at that comp, I wanted it so bad. And I had a couple of good powerlifters there at the time, a girl named Gracie who like was there to like hype me up and get me going. And then I had Ed Cohen there. Ed Cohen is the greatest powerlifter to ever live. He's the Muhammad Ali, you know, Michael Jordan of like powerlifting. This guy's the best, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember getting through my squat, and the squat is it's very, very tough for me to do. It's the hardest thing for me to do. And there's a video of after me completing my last and final squat, everybody freaks out, and Ed comes through, and Ed's like trying not to get emotional, and you could just see the chills on his body from like, you know, what I just did. You know, it was crazy. And then I remember him sitting there because he was calling my numbers. He was telling the judges what my next numbers would be. And I remember just sitting there telling him that I was like, I want that 600-pound deadlift. And he goes, well, you better go out there and pull these 2 first ones. And if you want it, then you better pull them pretty damn good. And I remember I went and pulled the first deadlift. And when I sat down, I said, I got it. He goes, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go up there and put a number up. You better pull this even faster than that one. You're not getting 600. And I was like, you know, it lit me up. And I went out there and pulled my second one. And I remember just walking by him and just being like, give it to me.
What's the second one? 550?
My second one was 555, I believe it was, right around there. Yeah.
So now you're going for 600, which you've never done before.
Yeah. So I'm in the back behind the stage, you know, getting myself ready to come back out there. And like, as I'm back there, I can tell it's getting louder. We have a guy on the mic. He's like the hype guy. And there was this world-class powerlifter. His name is Brandon Allen. He was actually the very first powerlifter that I ever really saw that I was like, is what pulled me into the sport. I remember him coming out, me watching him in Vegas, and him coming out from the back. And he was just this mammoth of a man and strong as a beast. And there was just so much hype and energy and adrenaline. And that's when I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like it fed me. Yeah. And I felt it. And so it was just really crazy that a guy that I had watched, a world-class powerlifter, I'm now lifting with on the same day, but now he's in the back. And I remember him just grabbing me and looking at me. He's like, dude, you don't know what's going on out there right now. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, everybody from the whole entire expo has just walked up, and you're literally going to go out there and you're going to change powerlifting forever.
Let's go.
And he just got me hyped. And I was like, and I remember just coming out there, and then there's Ed, and then there's Gracie. And we have this video, and she's hyping me, and she's like, and then the hype guy on the mic, I just remember hearing him, how bad do you want this, and I'm just, everything was set perfectly. And I fought the 600-pound deadlift in front of thousands of people, and it became one of the greatest moments of my life.
You can't talk about it without getting emotional.
It changed everything. I did it in front of my family, but I did it in front of my daughter, and the thing was, it was a journey. I had been told by everybody that it was going to be impossible to do what it is that I did, and man, and it was,
dude,
that's when the life changed for me.
I freaking love you, bro.
Yeah, that's when it changed. That's when social media took off, and I found like my niche. I found it. I found what it is that I wanted to do, and I wanted to motivate people, to show people like I was in the bottom of the hole, and I had been through it, from being blown up to depression to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, neglecting life, just, suicide thoughts. I mean, anything and everything. I fought back like a dog, and it did it. And it's a journey, and it's a marathon. And that's the thing, is it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I trained for 1 year to do that one competition. Jeez. A total of maybe 7 minutes on a platform total. I went through it, from injuries to wanting to quit, to just like thinking it is not possible to do, and then getting up there and doing it in front of everybody.
Let me ask you this. When you, and I watch you on your videos, when you stand up and you completed that lift, you're screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? I know you're screaming at the crowd. I know you're pumped up, but I feel like there's something else behind that. What are you screaming at?
It was like a release of all the demons that were inside me, all the doubt that I had in myself. It was for my brothers that weren't there anymore. And it was just to let everything out. And I knew what it was doing in front of everybody. And I just wanted to create a moment and an energy that me, my daughter, and every single person that was there watching could look back and remember. And I do to this day. I'll repost that video, which I just did not too long ago. Dude, people will be like, dude, I remember being there and the feeling of it. That was 6 years ago or so, I think. Yeah. It's just like, it was a time and a place that it was a release for me of everything that I've been through. And it was an impact that I knew was about to just staple some stuff on some people's lives and hopefully, motivate people. Now it's crazy, man. I get tagged on so many amputee powerlifters now. It's incredible. And none of these are doing it. And, now they're tagging me and telling me that, I'm coming for you. And I'm like, hell yeah, don't come for me. Surpass me, surpass me, man.
You inspire so many people. And I know for a fact that you saved at least one life today with your story. I know for a fact. How can people support you? How could people honor you for what you've done for our country and just honor you as a human being? Obviously follow you on social media, but everyone needs something. What do you need? How can people support you? What's next for you?
Oh man. I mean, here's I just want, I'm working on it myself. I just want everybody to just be better humans, man. I'm working on it myself every day. The country's in a rough spot right now. There's just so much division, everybody's divided and this and that. And, at the end of the day, we wake up and we're all Americans, man. And we're all human beings, and we all got lives to live,
Right.
For me, I was in the fitness industry, and I was sponsored by companies. And then, I get to a point where I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to do this forever. I can't lift these hundreds of pounds forever, especially as strenuous as powerlifting is for an elite athlete. with me, with my body and all the injuries and stuff that I have, it's catching up to me, and so I had to figure out, like, what am I going to do with my life, and how am I going to continue to live a fun life and provide for my family. And, so I got away from oh man, I basically walked away from all my sponsorships that I had, which was probably near $7,000 a month of sponsorships. I walked away from all of them, and put everything I had into starting up my own supplement company called Rising Labs. And I started off with just a couple little products here and there, and it was crazy the amount of support that I got right out the gate. And I work hard on these personally all the time.
And where can people get it? What's it called?
Rising Labs. So it's risinglabsco.com is the website of, like, my supplements, from pre-workouts to aminos to protein to fat burners. I'm constantly working on things. I mean, we're working on a heart pack that's for, that is just strictly to work on, give you take these pills that'll work for heart health, cardiovascular health. We got greens and reds that are coming out next month, which basically you drink them in the morning and it gives you your daily value of vegetables and fruits that you need, for the day. So we're just, constantly working on things. And like I said, I started out with 4 products, 1 flavor of each. And now I got 15 plus SKUs now, and I'm about to be a 2-year-old company. And, the thing was that I expanded, I hit my 3rd expansion because everything was just moving that way. And I moved into my 3rd expansion, and then 2 months later, COVID hit.
Yeah.
And, you had a 50-60% drop in sales, and so you're just, I'm here, I'm not a businessman, ex-infantry guy, and I'm learning, but I love it. I love it. And this is another huge challenge for me, is to, like, do this. And I love it. And I pack and ship my orders, and I work here every day, and I'm still doing it, and so it's just, that's just what I'm doing now with this company. And think about people, I guess you could say, I'm not sitting here saying, like, please go out and buy my stuff,
No, I'll tell them, go out there and buy his stuff. Go out there and buy Casey's stuff. You need it, whether it's heart health or whether it's your daily fruits and vegetables, or whether you want to get big and massive and be a monster like he is. Go to risinglabsco.com, get your supplements. And man, follow him at that one leg monster, THAT, and the #1 LEG monster on everything. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Pain wise, how are you? Does it hurt when you lift? Does it hurt when you sleep, wake up?
So, I have this thing, I woke up today, and I woke up today, and I showed you my schedule for today, and it's a long day, and there's times that I wake up, and I woke up like that today, actually. And I was very excited to do this podcast,
That's awesome.
I've been in pain for 10 years. It's rough. I got blown up in 2010, and for a decade, I feel like I've been tortured every single day. There's nothing, because I don't take pain pills. I do not take pain pills. Refuse. Even my girl now, I refuse to even take ibuprofens for headaches.
Wow.
I just don't do it. I've just learned to live without it. I've learned that, if I'm in pain, I can grind it out, and the pain, it settles down as a tad, or I just get through it. It's just the way it is for me.
Where do you have pain right now in
My
your
whole
body?
My whole body. It's just the way it is. My
Your
legs
back, your
hurt,
neck,
my
your
back
knee?
hurts. Yeah, it's just, everything is just, it's not, when my injuries, it was like, both my legs were tore up. I had a fractured back. My arm is banged up. And then I do this type of training, and this, I'm a very active guy. But the thing is that when I am not active, the pain is even worse. It's just me being active. I feel like it's kind of keeping me mobile, a little bit. But yeah, I wake up sometimes and I sit on the edge of bed, and I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Why? And then I'll, like, open up like a DM or something. I could open this right now, and I had DMs this morning of these guys, just like guys and girls messaging me, man, like, dude, I needed to see what you wrote today.
Right.
And right there, I'm like, that's why I can do this. That right there is why I do this. And so now it's to a point where I may not get to be in the military and lead soldiers anymore, but I'm leading people now.
I think your platform is going to be bigger than it ever could have been in the military with what you're doing. I think this is the beginning. I think when you look back and you had that day where you deadlifted 600 pounds in front of everyone, that was the moment. I think that was the floor and you haven't hit the ceiling yet. And I really, really do believe that in my heart. And I think, I mean, dude, you're young. What are you, 36?
Yeah, about to be 36 in April.
About to be 36.
I feel like I'm 66.
I know. But let me tell you this, man, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I can't even imagine the things that you've seen, the things that you felt. And I don't know what it's like to, like you said, see people pray and it not work. And I'm all about results. And I'm exactly like you. If I pray for something and I see and I'm not seeing results, I'm not about it. And I could tell you this, man, this is a good day for you because you ran into a man of God today that knows the character and nature of God. And I know for a fact that God is going to touch you right now and you are going to feel no pain if you will let me pray for you. Can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and you're not a liar. You would tell me straight up if you feel
no,
pain.
Because I totally, I do the whole praying thing with family and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not that I don't believe in it. It's just, I just choose to just believe in a higher power and not select like Catholic or Christian or Baptist or atheist or this or that is the one for me. That's what I mean by that. It's not that I don't believe in something. It's just that I choose not to choose a religion, basically.
How about this? I feel like your entire life, people have been trying to save you, save your soul, pray the prayer so you'll go to heaven. So at least I know you have fire insurance and you're in. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about God just loving you because he paid the ultimate price and he already put that inside of you. Like you have already shown that you would die for your brothers. Right. And I probably know that you probably already have a lot of regret and you've asked yourself those questions. Why am I alive and they're not? But I'll tell you this, man, the ultimate price has already been paid for your life because it matters. And what you're doing every single day is evidence that God is shining through you. And right now, God's just going to love you, dude. Is that cool? And I'm going to pray for you. And I want you to
trust me. I get it. Cause I've had people tell me that, God had this journey for me and he picks the strongest people to do these types of journeys. And it's hard to not believe that because I'm friggin' right here doing it, and it's hard not to believe that, and it's like I said, it's just, I've just been and seen some rough stuff and it just hurts, and I've done real well at getting past a lot of it. I don't think about it every day. I don't have any regrets or turmoil or anything like that. I just wake up every day and try to keep living, the best that I can. And I'm not a perfect man. I make a lot of mistakes, but yeah, I get told that a lot that, God picks the strongest ones to do these types of journeys. And hey, if that's what he's doing for me, he owes me when I get up there, damn it. You know what I mean? Because he's got me going through it, but I stay strong and I stay focused and I stay moving forward. And, there's days that I sit there and ask myself, and maybe me asking myself that personally is like maybe my way of praying, I guess you could say, And so, yeah, I mean.
No, I'm with you because I'm not about the whole religious thing. I love the Lord. Jesus has showed me too many things for me to not believe. And like, Jesus is my hero. And I've seen him heal so many people that I can't believe anything other than healing. So let's be honest with each other. So right now I'm going to pray and you got to tell me if you feel a tangible difference or not. So Lord, I thank you for Casey. I thank you for his life. I thank you for his heart, that he's got the heart of David. He's got the heart of a champion, and that he has pushed through more than any of us will ever even imagine. And you've preserved him and you've kept him safe. And right now, I pray that you make yourself real, tangible to him by healing the pain in his body. Holy Spirit, right now, in Jesus' name, touch his body. Pain leave in Jesus' name. Amen. And I thank you. Hey, you're going to sleep better. And I pray that God continues to just renew your mind and the things that you've seen will be filled with revelation of what he's doing in your life. Now, be honest. Do you feel any better in your body?
I feel grateful, man. And yeah, I feel, anytime I get to come here and speak about things, and this is it, like I said, this is, from the time we talked to you praying, dude, I feel grateful. And
yes.
For the moments that we've been sitting here talking, I don't sit here I'm not thinking about the pain. And when you're sitting there, me listening to you pray, I'm not thinking about or feeling the pain. So yeah, Matt, thank you.
You're the man, dude. I freaking love you, bro. Thanks for coming on Level Up.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Anytime, dude. And, if anybody, I tell everybody I'm a pretty, when people will see me on social media and stuff like that, and, you think that my social media platform's too big, that I'll never see a message, try me one time. Guarantee you I respond back to you. Because
he will respond.
I'm that guy. I don't care for the Instagram fame. I care for the people that follow me and need the motivation from me and reach out for the help. And that's what I'm about. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. The fame stuff, I don't think I'm famous. I think I'm kind of blessed in a way to gotta, sit here and kind of motivate and help people get through times and keep people living, like you said. Yeah, trust me, I know. I've talked to a guy, I'll never forget a story that I talked to a guy in the UK who got a hold of me. We talked on the phone and he was literally getting ready to hang himself with a rope, and I talked him out of it. 3 years later, he's now remarried, happiest guy in the entire world. And he thanks me almost every day that I talked him out of that rope. And that's what I'm here to do, is to lead people into realizing that they're worth something and that they can accomplish things. And I'll use my body and everything like that to push that upon them until I no longer can.
Dude, you're the man. Thank you so much. Casey Mitchell, everybody, that one-leg monster. He is the man, the myth, the legend. And if you liked today's podcast, please share it and make sure you like, subscribe, give a 5-star rating, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or, of course, YouTube. Thank you so much, Casey Mitchell, that one-leg monster, and thank you so much for another episode of Level Up.